Welcome back to Buffalo Bills Paradise Podcast. I don't know. Wildcard weekend kind of took a lot out of me. It just didn't even, as we all know, play.
Mm.
You forget, like, when you're watching every team, like, that's a different kind of mental toughness. This, just like, only 3 games. It's totally different. I feel like it was
we
much
got
harder.
we get spoiled with like 17 weeks of commercial free football, and then we get better football in the playoffs. But you got to sit through all those like Apple Watch commercials where people are dying and stuff.
The
It
Taco
takes a
Bell
toll.
commercials talking about astrology signs.
Yeah, it's hard to sit on a couch and watch football all day.
I know what you three want to talk about, so just go for it.
Yeah, the Bills are the greatest team ever. No
Yeah, I
team
don't.
has ever played a better offensive game than that ever.
I mean, teams have
Seven
scored more
possessions
points,
and
sure,
seven
but
touchdowns.
yeah,
Only
every
thing
single
that
possession.
broke the streak was a nil, which is
Yeah.
crazy.
But even then, I mean, it's another drive that just didn't end until the whistle. It's fantastic. I was shocked and amazed, and I got to. I mean, obviously, it's encouraging as a Bills fan to see literally the single most dominant offensive performance of all time, but it was just that. I mean, we got to understand that we will likely never be able to replicate that. It's unlikely most NFL teams are ever able to replicate that. That was a once in a lifetime offensive performance, and we can be thrilled and we can be happy and we can say it was fantastic because it was, but it's never going to be quite that good again. And it's sort of a how close to the sun did we just fly?
Yeah. But the
What's
stats
crazy-
are just insane.
Mhm.
7 touchdowns, 7 drives. Allen, 5 touchdowns, 4 incompletions. The
Mhm.
Bills never got to a 4th down. They only faced 6 third downs all game. And they didn't run a single negative play. The Patriots had no sacks, no tackles for loss. They gained yards on every play
No
until
punch,
Mitch
no
Trubisky
field
kneeled the
goals.
ball.
Yeah, it's the most dominant performance we've ever seen. And
Even
the
the
Patriots,
defense looked really good too.
they did. I mean,
Like
I will
our
say
pass
that-
rush looked dominant.
as an objective NFL fan, Mac Jones was making some plays, and he got let
Yeah.
down by his guys early. Obviously, he fell off as
And
the
they
game
just
went
couldn't
on.
dig themselves out of the hole they created.
No, it's sort of the whole idea that a lot of great offensive teams with good secondaries want to do, which is you put up points early and you force them to throw at you because you know it's your strength, and we were able to do that. It was an incredible show, but I imagine that game was probably one of the least exciting games of the weekend for non-Bills fans because it's been a lot of blowouts.
They could have made it entertaining. I would have liked to just eliminate the clock, and if they just kept playing the game until the Patriots could have got the Bills off the field, I would have liked to have seen if the game would have ended before Rams
breaking-
Cardinals on Monday night.
Breaking news. Next Sundays will be right after the Chiefs-Bills game, around 10 o'clock Eastern. The rematch.
That's going to be crazy because the Chiefs look damn good today too. They started slow and then they scored 35 points in 11 minutes.
All right, so while Bryce puts out his PSA about next week's schedule, Theo, Yeston, and I, you realize that this is the only podcast in America that's having a podcast tomorrow that didn't lead with the Cowboys game. I think like Buffalo Bills podcasts even are. They're just like,
Yeah,
oh
that's a
yeah,
good
we
point.
dominated the Patriots, but let's just talk about that. And let's just talk about that. Did the Cowboys lose or did the 49ers win?
The Cowboys lost. Mike McCarthy lost yet again. That's the thing is Dallas got rid of Jason Garrett, who you would have thought was the worst possible coach. You can't get any worse than Jason Garrett. And they somehow found Mike McCarthy, who's just Jason Garrett all over again.
Yeah,
Like
just a little bigger.
he doesn't have a hand in the offense or the defense. Like they have like Kellen Moore and Dan Quinn are calling plays. So like all Mike McCarthy's job is like to make sure the team's disciplined and like to manage the clock and stuff like that. And they commit more penalties than any team in the league. And they do a horrible job of managing the clock. So that's that. Yeah, Mike McCarthy's the guy that was going 6-10 with Aaron Rodgers and made us think that he was washed.
Yeah, that was just a horrible display for Mike McCarthy. I don't think he had very many supporters left, but the few that there were, just that was the.
What's hilarious too is Dak said when they practiced that play, he always handed it to the center and not the referee. Like, that's just terrible coaching. That's losing coaching right there.
Mm-hmm. I just can't even believe that was practiced. Like, if you just think about it, there was 18 seconds left. They were at the 40, so they were already close enough to throw to the end zone. So with 18 seconds, they would have had 2 shots to throw to the end zone. Like, gaining 15 yards and running that time off, it would have. Their options were basically, if everything worked out perfectly, they would have had 1 chance at the end zone from the 25. I feel like taking 2 chances from the 40 is just better.
Okay, so everybody's going to be like, oh, what a stupid play by Dak, what a stupid play by Mike McCarthy, blah, blah, blah. I get it, running the ball with whatever it was, 14 seconds left, and then running in the middle of sliding in the middle of the field, I should say, was dumb. But if the referee doesn't just like totally run right into Dak, they get the spike off and they get one more play. But I mean,
you should know not to hand it to your center, though, and hand it to the referee. Like, that's football 101 right there. Even like 7-year-olds know that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just think that, like, if this happened to any other team, it'd be like, oh, referee, blah blah blah. But it's the Cowboys.
It's
so
America's team, so it's gonna be talked about.
It also is just always hilarious to see that the Cowboys stadium, like Jerry Jones, Jerry World, work against him and his team. Like Cedric Wilson had that open pass that he dropped because the sun was in his eyes, and then the punter kicked it off the giant scoreboard they have.
Somebody said that it's just the new and improved version of Tropicana Field. For those of you that don't watch baseball, Tropicana Field is a dome in Tampa Bay, Florida for the Tampa Bay Rays. It's got this big catwalk and balls ricochet off it all the time. And it's like playing wiffle ball in your friend's backyard with all the rules that they have to make up basically every season with it.
Mm-hmm. But everyone knows that like Tropicana Field is horrible. But Jerry World says you like a state-of-the-art facility, and it's just not. Like they built it. First of all, they built it east to west, which is where the sun sets, and then they put that huge glass panel up so that God could watch his favorite team, the Dallas Cowboys. But now all that happens is the sun sets at the time where football games happen, and the sun drops right through that panel and just blinds everyone on the field. It's ridiculous.
What's hilarious too is they made that multi-million-dollar scoreboard, and all that happened was punts hitting it every game.
Like it's the refs don't even know what to do. They called a redo on that punt. Like I've never seen a redo in professional sports. That's what happens with like at the peewee level.
Speaking of redos, what was hilarious was that respot on 4th down.
I think
they don't even know what's going on.
Time.
Yeah.
They don't even know what's going on half the time.
And what's
bad
crazy,
weekend for the refs.
Yeah. What's crazy about that game, besides the fact that it was the Nickelodeon wildcard special, was that it was one of those, similar to last week, where every weird situation that could have happened almost did. That's what happened in this one. Like that 4th down gets overturned. Then it's like, oh, imagine a false start. And then it's like, oh, a false start on the 49ers. And then
went from 3rd and 4 to 3rd and 14.
Yeah, just if you're a Cowboys fan, like it's like one of those, you don't know if you should laugh or cry. That's just how weird it was.
Should be like that girl in the stands and just bawl your eyes out.
The Niners are also just some like easy Jimmy Garoppolo completions away from like putting the game away, and instead they ended up in that like a heart racing finish that really didn't even need to happen. But like Jimmy G was trying his best to lose that game.
Yeah, going forward, we'll talk about it more on Tuesday, but just I don't know what you're going to get with Jimmy G.
I'm not looking forward to watching him play in 15-degree weather at Lambeau Field.
I think
I
his
mean-
thumb might actually break off.
Probably will, yeah. Like, you're not going to be able to throw that. It's going to be all Elijah Mitchell and Debo Samuel running the ball.
Can we get Debo's played running back and wide receiver. Maybe we get Debo Samuel Wildcat quarterback next week.
I mean,
Get some
already
end
ruin
runs
the
with
two
him and
gloves.
take it 15 yards.
And Dak being announced as the Nickelodeon valuable player before the last play happened is just so perfect. That was really one of the best sports moments you'll ever see. The fact
what
that he ran away with it is incredible, and that then those events transpired, just perfection.
You know what that means, though, is Dak's going to be the backup to Josh Allen next year. As an MVP winner, it's in his contract.
Yeah, now we can have 3 MVPs on our team. Allen, Trubisky last year, and now Dak.
The Allen one doesn't really count. That's a regular season one.
Still, it's an MVP. I'll still count it.
This is a real deal. Like, this game in particular, I feel like there's so much that you could say, and you could literally dissect every little thing that happened. But also, like, I never want to talk about that game again.
Yeah, that's the beauty of the NFL is sometimes the best games are just like we get it because there's so much incompetence. Like that, the reason that game was so crazy is because both teams were screwing up in every possible way imaginable.
I just don't. I don't even want to think about that game anymore. And it's crazy. Like, George Kittle did absolutely nothing. Jimmy G did like barely enough. Debo was there. Mitchell wasn't a huge threat, it looked like.
And then Brandon Ayuk went back to his week 1 through 5 performance.
Did Zeke ran the ball like what, 12 times?
Yeah, the Cowboys barely ran it.
And Tony Pollard, when he ran, looked much better than him. Randy Gregory wanted to lose, like, and he made that very obvious.
That was so stupid. That was dumb.
Which one? The 2 encroachments, the last play on the third
The tackle.
down. It just
Tackle I'm talking about.
I just couldn't believe it. But that's the Dallas Cowboys.
CeeDee Lamb was in witness protection. Like I thought that was the matchup they were going to dominate. The Niners corners were supposed to be terrible, and yeah, Cooper and Lamb combined for 6 catches for 85 yards. Like,
and
that's not what I was expecting.
This is a Niners secondary that's loaded with injuries that has to start Josh Norman. And
Yeah, throw at
the
Norman
top 2
every
receivers
play.
have 86 yards. It's terrible football.
Yeah. All right. Let's talk about anything else. Let's go from that game to Philadelphia Buccaneers, why don't we?
Oh, another great game to talk about. How Hurts sucks.
That was a bad look for Jalen Hurts.
You can call this a hot take from me or whatever. The fact that it was only a 2-possession game final says more about the Bucs than it should. Like, they dominated the game. They didn't even play that well. And it shouldn't have even been within 16 points. If anything, I think less of them after this game.
Yeah, like that's what Hurts does in garbage time. Like the first matchup too, because the final score was 28-22 and when they played in their regular season. So I think some people thought the Eagles had a chance because that game was close. But if you look at that, the Bucs were up 28-7 in that game, and they doubled the Eagles in yards and time of possession, which is like basically what they did today. Like they just took a sledgehammer to the Eagles because they're a much better football team. And like again, the final score gets a little misleading because Jalen Hurts is the king of garbage time.
Yeah, you can't really look at the final score in much of these games from this weekend because, like you said, the garbage time points and stats will it'll lie to you. Like, this game was a blowout from the start, and there was no way Philly was coming back from this.
And I've been kind of defending Hurts all year as a young quarterback, but today was really bad. Like he was just missing throws you have to make as an NFL QB.
And then he has a clean pocket and he takes off and runs.
That's he can't make a play from the pocket.
With a running ability.
Yeah, and just Jalen Hurts not being able to do anything in the first half and the entire Philadelphia Eagle offense. That too
What's
is
sad?
Just,
what's sad is in the entire first half, Devontae Smith, their best receiver, had 2 targets, and one of them was a terrible interception that probably shouldn't have been thrown.
Well, on that play, like Smith routed up his man, like was wide open in the end zone, and then Hurts didn't throw from the pocket. He rolled out. He threw the ball probably 3 seconds too late, and it got picked by a safety who had a chance to come all the way from the other side of the field and cut it off.
I mean, You got to process these plays better than he did today. It just wasn't good football. It's what you'd expect him to clean up in college.
And it was clear the Eagles didn't trust him because basically the whole first half they only ran screen plays. It was run, screen, like screen after screen, and eventually they just got down by so much they had to throw down the field. But you could tell that was not something they wanted to do.
You know that Gordon Ramsay meme? It's like, oh no, like sweet, precious, whatever, and then it's him yelling at somebody, and he's like, "No, you donkey." Like at one point, I was like, "Oh, sweet Jalen, like please stop trying to throw down the field." And then I was just like getting mad at him for not being able to do it. It actually hurt me watching him try to throw it sometimes. Like I think there was a completion to Goddard, and Goddard had to like basically sprint in 7 yards to make the catch. And I was just like, this is a horrible day to be a Jalen Hurts fan.
Hurts reminds me a little bit of Tyrod Taylor. Like he has great mobility. He'll run everywhere and make the flashy plays, but he's not going to, win you football games, win you playoff games with his arm.
Yeah, that's his ceiling. Because I thought his ceiling could have been a little higher just because he was a young QB, but just with the traits he has, I think he's already. He maybe not has reached it, but he's towards the top of his ceiling, which is going to be like a Tyrod Taylor. Like if you put a good defense around him, he'll manage a game. You can go 9-7, 10-6, make the playoffs.
There's just nothing else to say about this game. I guess if you're a Bucs fan, hope that the offensive line can get healthy. Yeah, I haven't heard any reports on them.
Tristan Wirfs, he has an ankle sprain, I think, but he got hurt. Brennan Wells, or I forget his first name, but he got hurt earlier and he had to come and play injured. So Brady didn't have a lot of help, and it showed a lot of times when he got hit. I think he took like 5 sacks.
Yeah, if Wirfs is hurt, the Bucs are in huge trouble next week, especially if they get the Rams and they have that backup right tackle lining up against Von Miller. Like
Ryan Jensen
that's big trouble. Yeah. The Bucs were already so hurt, like they could not afford to lose anyone else. And Wirfs is probably the second most important player on their offense behind Brady.
It's sad they couldn't afford to lose anyone else, and they actually did lose everyone else today.
Yeah.
Yeah. The as we're getting into now the third game of the day, this was just like such a weird wild card weekend, It
was a lot of bad 7 seeds playing against the top teams today.
And the worst of them all, Pittsburgh Steelers. Finally, Big Ben is gone.
Big Ben knew what was happening earlier this week.
His first half stats, I don't remember what they were exactly, but I remember they started the second half and they put up like the quarterback stats, and it was like Mahomes on the right side with 240 yards. And on the left side was Ben with like 12 pass attempts for 14 yards or something like that. And I actually just like started laughing like out loud. Like Big Ben he's a Hall of Fame quarterback, but he just became comedy towards the end of the season.
A lot of Ben's stats came in the fourth quarter. He finished with 215 yards and 2 TDs, but on 44 attempts. So it's like his last 3 or 4 games. He'll throw 50 times and only get 150, 200 yards. It's nothing to wow your eyes about if you actually look at the game.
Yeah, 4.9 yards per pass attempt is just so bad.
Najee couldn't get going either. 12 carries, 29 yards. Then he had that fumble in the third quarter.
Yeah, good
Jared
riddance
McKinnon
to the
really
Steelers.
surprised me though.
He looked good
Had-
today.
Like over 100 yard scrimmage with a touchdown.
Mhm.
He runs a lot better than Edwards-Helaire does.
Yeah, that's I was thinking about that today too. Like the draft is just so hard. Like you think the Chiefs are like one of the best, most well-run teams, and they're still out here using first-round picks on Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Like that just shows you that no one in the NFL really has it figured out.
Yeah, and we didn't even bring up Jalen Rager and just the disappointment that he
Oh
is.
God!
Oh yeah, if he wasn't a first-round pick, he would have been cut so long ago. I can't believe they're even still running him out there.
If he wasn't a first round pick and picked right before Justin Jefferson, I don't know if he'd be getting as much hate as he is right now.
Like on
Bryce,
that,
come on,
he got
he's
taken
so
out.
bad.
He got taken out by Scotty Miller. Like he's so bad.
I couldn't believe that muffed punt. That was terrible.
Mhm.
I just can't believe it any week with him. It's just
he
so
never
bad.
does anything good.
He shouldn't touch the field again next season.
And anytime you think he does something good, like the guy rolls over and it's not number 18 Jalen Rager, it's actually number 16 Quez Watkins.
Yeah, I'm sorry we had to bring up the Eagles again, but just like Jalen Rager, I hope he doesn't think he was going to get away with one and pull a fast one on us. Chiefs though looked great. Mahomes fumbled, woke up, dominated. What else is new?
McKinnon looks really good in the past game. He was second on the team in yards and receptions. Had 6 for 81 and a touchdown. Behind or in front of Tyreek Hill and Demarcus Robinson, which I think says a lot.
Mm-hmm. And that's a huge weapon for them because early in the year, the way the teams were beating the Chiefs was like just dropping into coverage and like challenging Mahomes to take a check down. And he wasn't taking the check downs. He was being too aggressive. He was firing the ball downfield. But now to have like a good safety blanket like McKinnon, which it seems like he trusts because he targeted him 6 times today. Like it just makes the Chiefs offense so much better when they can take the simple checkdowns because it opens up all the deep stuff that you saw later in the game.
Yeah, and just like this game too, I don't want to have to talk about it. You know, I learned nothing from the Chiefs besides that we already knew they were really good. And the Steelers shouldn't have been
We
there.
learned nothing but the
Brandon
Steelers
Staley's more.
or about the Steelers.
Screw the 7th playoff seed because we're talking about the Steelers and the Steelers suck, and we're in the
When
playoffs.
we should be
We
talking
should
about
not
the
be talking
Chargers.
about teams that suck. Yeah.
I thought we finished talking about teams that sucked last week after the regular season.
Yeah.
Hopefully this was the last week. I think we're in the clear. Raiders
It
lost,
should be with
Eagles
the
lost,
Steelers
Steelers
and
lost.
Raiders. Yeah.
But there was one game that like it wasn't that it was good or great, but everybody loves Joe Burrow now. Apparently, he's the most liked player in the NFL. I heard on Instagram. I don't know about that
Bengals
one.
offense is nasty. I mean, outside of offensive line, they're set at every single position.
Speaking of nasty, that CJ Uzuma, whatever, gritty, icky shuffle thing, disgusting. I hated that. But back to the on the field stuff. I'm sorry, Bryce.
No, I don't even remember what I was going to say. But yeah, they're the Bengals' top 3 receivers could all be wide receiver ones on pretty much any other team, and they have all 3 starting right now, which says a lot about how they draft. And they still have Samaje Perine, Joe Mixon, and CJ Uzoma.
Yeah,
Do you
I
want
mean,
to
the
say sorry
Bengals
to
weren't
Zach
going to
Taylor
make
yet?
it easy.
What's that?
Do you want to apologize to Zach Taylor yet, Bryce?
For what?
You were just saying he wasn't ready yet. I mean, it was a long time ago. Yeah, but like
Yeah, we
week
all
6,
have
week 7.
takes that we want to take back from week 1 or week 2.
Nah, you were saying it a little later on.
We thought the Panthers and Broncos were a good team
Nah, we
up
really
till
didn't.
week
Though.
4.
We were like, let's pump the brakes on them. All right,
Well,
fair.
I shouldn't say we did, but a lot of fans did.
That's fair. But that was cool that he gave like the city of Cincinnati a game ball.
Yeah.
And
What about
Joe Burrow
tomorrow's
looks
game,
like he
though?
really wants to be there. I really hope tomorrow like redeems the weekend.
Yeah, we need.
I think that's going to be a really close game, high scoring, close game.
Whatever
Cardinals
Cardinals,
offense.
team we get is how the game's going to go. And I know that probably makes no sense, or you're like, yeah, obviously. But like, if the Cardinals only score 18, the Rams are only
The
going to
Rams
score
are going to
21.
blow them out.
No, I think like the Rams will like go off of what like the Cliff's vibe is. If it's a low scoring game, it'll be a low scoring game. But if the Cardinals feel like putting up 35, Chargers or Rams will put up 42 or 28.
The Rams need this game in the worst way possible because all the moves and all the money they spent this offseason just to lose in the wild card would really put a damper on everything. Spent a lot to get Stafford, spent a couple second rounds on Von Miller, then they got Odell Beckham. So with all that, you'd think they're going to blow them out, but with everything we've seen from them this season, you never know what you're going to get.
I think we're getting a good game, but I don't know who to pick because I can't get myself to trust either of these quarterbacks. Like they're both dynamic and great at some points, but you have like Matt Stafford just makes some bad decisions, and Kyler's been a little shaky down the stretch.
Von Miller's been quiet.
I lean towards the Rams because I think I trust McVay to put a game plan together more than I do Cliff Kingsbury. So that's where I'm going to lean. But
yeah, I still don't think Cliff is that great of a coach.
Yeah, I mean, the Cardinals have been losing to teams that they should be beating on paper the last couple of weeks of the season, which I definitely falls on Cliff.
I mean, this is just like not about the game really at all. I don't like that this is a Monday night game. That's not fair to whichever team that wins it has to play on a short week.
Yeah, that's true. Especially if I guess they'll make it so they won't get the Saturday game, but
yeah, but still.
It would have been even worse if they had to face Green Bay after this though, and Green Bay was off a bye and they were on a short week. So at least the Niners want to help that case.
Yeah, but they play
Arizona,
whoever wins plays the 3:00 game on Sunday. So it's not even 6 days.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still a nice break though, because you're even in the regular season, you're going to get 5-6 days.
Yeah, but in the regular season, when you play on Monday night, they still complain about having to play on Sunday and being like, "Oh, short week." So in the playoffs, I imagine it'll be the same thing.
Yeah, if one of these teams wins, or one of the teams has to win, if they lose next week, I imagine they'll complain a bunch, and maybe something will happen, or maybe Roger Goodell will say, "Look, we made a ton of money, so shut up, we don't care."
Yeah. Okay, J.J. Watt, he's coming back for whatever reason. I get it. He is always hurt. He doesn't know, making the playoffs isn't guaranteed ever. He wants to play in a playoff game. I totally get that. I respect him coming back and, whatever. But is he going to be of any impact? Juju tonight did absolutely nothing. So is he going to be more
Both
like that?
Watt and Juju came back too soon.
And now Watt's going to give some extremely corny pregame speech, I'm sure, which will get posted everywhere. Not
Hype
looking
up.
forward to it.
Hype up the Cardinals just to score 20 points.
So Bryce, you think Cardinals they're not winning, you think?
I'll have to go with the Rams.
How much?
How much?
Yeah.
Whew. By a touchdown plus.
Oh, not that this is a bad thing too. It kind of is because this is like the game I cared the most about this weekend. Well, no, I don't hate, but they're better than like the regular Monday Night Crew. But the fact that this is a Manning cast game, I'm going to pay attention so much less. Not that that's bad, but like, I don't know.
I think the Manning casts have been pretty cool though.
No, it has been, but I don't pay attention to like the game at all. It's like when you're like playing a video game and watching whatever on the side, you like glance over at the side, meaning the game in the Manning cast sense, but then your actual video game you're playing is Eli and Peyton's faces in the left-hand corner, and you're just looking at them instead of the game.
Yeah, you can't focus on the game too much because of all the background stuff, all the interviews and everything.
Yeah.
They need to. I love the Manning cast, but next year I need to see Eli and Peyton on the same couch together. No more of the virtual stuff.
I need to see them in the booth together.
Yeah, anything. I just want them in the same room together.
They'd be better than Louis Riddick, Steve Levy, and Bob Grease.
Yeah, for sure.
That's the bad thing too. I really like Steve Levy, and I really like Louis Riddick, but Brian Greasy
They're
just
not
like
good announcers.
brings nothing. Louis Riddick's not bad.
I think he'll get a GM job eventually.
Well, if Adam
This year,
Schefter
next
keeps
year,
like floating
eventually.
your name out there for it, it
I
has to
mean,
happen.
Mike Mayock got one when he was on NFL Network, so Louis Riddick should, and he's a lot smarter than Mayock.
Hey, Mike Mayock built a playoff team with an interim coach.
Yeah, but Mike Mayock's on the hot seat right now.
For what?
I heard rumblings like 1 or 2 weeks ago that he could be fired this offseason.
Why? You think because he was like Gruden's guy?
I think so, yeah.
And he's like the draft guy, and all their draft picks stink.
Yeah, I mean,
That's true.
Damon Arnett hasn't been that great, and now he's gone. So, I mean, who else do they have that's worth anything from these past drafts? Alex Leatherwood, I haven't really liked a lot. Amik Robertson hasn't been as great as everyone hoped. Henry Ruggs was off and on when he was still a free man.
Yeah, Cleveland Farrell, that was the miss, which
That
they
was a
made up
terrible
for
pick.
by finding Crosby later. But I still don't, that I'm not willing to excuse using a top 5 pick on Cleveland Farrell. First round pick on Josh Jacobs. That was not return on investment.
Jonathan Abram hasn't been what
he's
everyone
bad.
hoped either.
He's played like
Yeah.
what, like 14 games in 3 years?
Yeah, that's a big red flag.
And one of them was that Chiefs game where they literally just threw at him every single play. Like they completed 13 passes with
Didn't he
Abram as the
have
closest
over
defender.
100 yards
Like,
allowed?
yeah, it was like almost 200 yards against him. Like he got exposed.
Oh, speaking of exposed, we didn't talk about it, which was surprising. Trey Diggs, that was an awful look today. He got beat on like a impromptu wheel route or go route, whatever ones happened. I don't remember the exact details of the route, but that was awful.
Yeah, when you actually sit down and look at his games this season, you're not surprised because he allowed over 1,000 yards this season in coverage. So if you've seen any of his games, this or today wasn't that huge of a shock.
Mm-hmm. There was a big debate this week. I kind of thought he deserved to be on All Pros because 11 interceptions is insane, and the way that changes the game. But like, get this clear. Like that's this season only. Like the guys he's made it over, like J.C. Jackson and AJ Terrell, they're better than Trevon Diggs. He just had a better season than them this year. But like what he did this year,
Yes.
he's not going to be able to replicate.
Yeah, it's like Josh Norman when he was in a contract year with the Panthers.
Yeah,
He went crazy.
exactly.
Trayvon,
And then he didn't win Defensive Player of the Year that year, right? That was
I don't
probably
think
JJ
so.
Watt year.
But he was an All Pro. And Marcus Peters had a couple All Pro seasons too, where he led the league in picks. But if you look at it, like he was getting torched
Well, yeah,
in
that's just
coverage.
because like he would like play off ball and then just creep the route and get him.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of what Diggs does. Like, but
But
Diggs
he's
is
getting
also
beat
just a
on a lot more
terrible
than
tackler.
Marcus.
Yeah. Diggs gave up like 400 yards after the catch this year, which just means he's being aggressive and then not making tackles. He has some flaws for sure.
I mean, I don't know how much you guys agree with this, but I wonder if they're targeting him a lot because he's allowed a lot of yards and receptions, so he's going to get a lot of picks.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it makes sense, but like, because I think he got targeted like 104 times this year, and because of the picks, like the QBR when he was targeted was only like 55. So like that's pretty good if you look at it like that. Like he had a good season, but I think he'll just continue to get targeted in the future. And when those picks go down, like the QBR against him is going to be higher. The completion percentage is going to be higher.
Yeah, it's going to be another Marcus Peters type career for Trayvon. He's going to go to a few teams, get beat a lot in coverage, but still get hyped up because he's a ball hawk.
Dang, Bryce, this Cole Shadle guy made fun of you for spelling Fox wrong. That's not cool. Does he know that you were multitasking?
I should have read it.
I don't like. I assume there was like a U instead of an O or something. I don't know what it said.
It was a FOC instead of an X.
Not cool, Cole. Oh, the Chiefs ran out of fireworks tonight too. I don't know if you
Did
guys
they really?
saw that or yeah. Yeah, they ran out of touchdown fireworks.
They were also launching toilet paper at the goalposts during all their extra points.
Well, when you score touchdowns 7 times, you're going to run out of fireworks. 7, 8 times, whatever it was.
Not as cool as a dildo throw, but I respect the toilet paper throw.
Yeah, that was elite. And then you had the Patriots player. There was a picture of a Patriots player pointing at it, and that's a
Hall of Fame picture.
That's actually perfect, Theo. Who is your guys' drop your nuts player table on the? You guys know what I mean.
Drop your nuts on the table player of the week.
Yeah,
it's got to be Josh Allen. 5 touchdowns, 4 incompletions. That's it right there. That is Viagra filled nuts dropped on the table.
I gotta go.
Also, why did Diana Russini lie about him? Why did she say he was going to go sleeveless?
Well, he was planning on it. Then he went outside and changed his mind because it was like
do we have
-5 degrees.
Josh Allen's leadership now. He's spreading fake news. So
yes, it was -5 degrees outside.
Yeah, but you tell Diana one thing and then you do a different thing. I don't know. I might have to change my Super Bowl pick.
But yeah, I got Dawson Knox, the other Viagra player today or yesterday. Had 2 touchdowns, an insane grab when Allen was throwing the ball away. I mean, he's become a really reliable option for Josh this year.
Yeah, he put his nuts right on Kyle Duggar.
What's that, Steven?
If Mitch goes down, Dawson Knox is right there, 3rd string, slinging that thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he threw a TD with a broken hand this year. I think he leads the NFL in passing touchdowns thrown with a broken hand. Don't fact check it.
You're probably right, though.
Does. I'm going to go with the All-Pro kick returner, Braxton Berrios.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't even play this
Makes
weekend.
Sense.
That's how good he was. Finally, he gets some respect.
Didn't have a fumble like Jalen Reagor did.
True.